What is up, guys? Rob the Undead Gamer here, and welcome back to another awesome episode of my Elder Scrolls Online beta weekend coverage. Today's episode, I kind of want to talk about the crafting in the Elder Scrolls Online. But before I get into the crafting, I just want to apologise slightly. There might be a little bit of lag on the video. I'm not sure why. The game runs absolutely fine and smoothly normally, but as soon as I start recording or bring the recording software up, for some reason there's a little bit of lag, and I think there was lag on Saturday's video as well, so for that I do apologise, but the game is absolutely smooth, runs beautifully. It's just for some reason when I click record it decides to be a little bit laggy, so my apologies for that, and I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression of the game. So anyway, right, let's get into crafting. Now, crafting in the Elder Scrolls Online is pretty standard MMO fare, really. It's nothing exciting, nothing new, really, but there's a fair bit to kind of wrap your head around. There are obviously very similar to normal Elder Scrolls games, so Oblivion and Skyrim. There's your sort of base. Well, let's compare it more to Skyrim because I think there was more crafting in Skyrim, or more things to craft in Skyrim. But obviously you've got alchemy, blacksmithing, clothing, enchanting, provisioning, which is your cooking, which as you can see I've done a lot of, and your woodworking. Now, alchemy obviously speaks for itself, I suppose. Is the crafting of potions, poisons, things like that, and I guess really experimenting with alchemy ingredients and things like that. I've not actually done a lot of alchemy, so I'm not sure if you require recipes in alchemy, or you require to, like you do in Skyrim, just sort of bung a load of things in your pestle and mortar and see what happens. So for that I can't speak for, I do apologise. Obviously your blacksmithing used to make armour and weapons and things like that. Obviously more your sort of your heavy armours, really. Clothing, again, used to make your light armours, and I think probably your leather armours as well. What else we got? We got enchanting. Enchanting again, used to obviously give weapons more abilities, like special magical abilities and things like that. Also can be used to take away abilities from an enchanted weapon, so I guess you can use that ability on other weapons, you know, increasing things like damage, or giving them like extra fire damage or more critical attack, or even armor, extra blocking, or extra defense against magical attacks, things like that. So pretty normal, standard sort of Elder Scrolls type enchanting there. And I think also to charge your weapons, because obviously you've got magical weapons, they've got a certain amount of charge on them, and I think enchanting can be used to charge those weapons, provided obviously you've got soul gems. Again, standard Elder Scrolls sort of game mechanic type things. Provisioning, again, as I said, is your cooking, so the cooking of foods and the brewing of drinks and things like that, which give you special bonuses and abilities like increased health for a certain amount of time, or increased magicka for a certain time, or quicker health regeneration, you know, things like that. Pretty standard stuff, or more strength, you know, things like that. And then your woodworking, obviously, is used for crafting weapons and things. I'm not sure if there's, oh, there's carpentry down here, so there might be. I suppose there is. I'm not sure if there's player houses in the Elder Scrolls Online, or if there will be, because obviously woodworking would be good for crafting furniture and things like that, if there is housing in the game. I'm not sure if there is, though. But yeah, that is basically it. That's your basic sort of crafting abilities and things like that. Obviously, there are lots of materials around the world to get your hands on and get hold of, and anyone can pick up these items and these materials as you go about the world. Similar to Skyrim, for example, where you just sort of go out into the world, you find a bush, or you find a plant, or you find a bug, in, you know, for example, and you sort of gather materials from them. As you can see here, we've got, let's go to, not miscellaneous, we go to materials. We've got some woodworking materials here. We've got some raw scrap hides, Nirnroot, your classic Elder Scrolls Nirnroot plant there, moonstone, obviously for your blacksmithing and things like that, iron ore, and obviously some ingredients and things for cooking and bits and pieces like that. And you don't have to. With most MMOs, you kind of have to pick a crafting skill. So you'd go to a teacher, and you'd learn the skills of blacksmithing, and you'd get your blacksmithing tools, you'd get your mining tools, and you'd get your blacksmithing hammer and things like that, and then you could only do those crafting skills. Elder Scrolls Online, anyone is free to do absolutely anything and everything. So if I so wanted, I could do all of those skills. I could do all of the crafting abilities. I could do alchemy, blacksmithing, clothing, all of it if I wanted to. And you don't have to buy any particular weapons or pieces of equipment to do so. I can go about the world and I can find some iron ore just lying around, and I can click on it and mine it. I don't have to buy a pickaxe to do so, which is kind of good and allows anyone to do everything. So even if I wasn't interested in blacksmithing, for example, I could still mine the ore and sell it. So I could make a bit of business doing that, which is pretty cool. It really opens it up and allows anyone and everyone to do absolutely everything and anything that they want, which is really cool. So yeah, here's your materials. With regards to provisioning, so your cooking, I'll go to, where's the tavern? I think the tavern's over here. I don't think I've got anything to make anything with, or I don't think I've got any material, any ingredients to make anything at the moment. But with cooking, you get or you find recipes throughout the world. You either get given them or you find them. I'm not sure if you can get them from vendors, because I've not come across any vendors that sell recipes, so I'm not sure if that's a thing you can do, or if you can get them from the auction house or anything like that. But obviously you learn your recipe, and obviously I haven't got any recipes that I can use at the moment because I haven't got any ingredients to match any recipes that I have. But you click on the particular recipe and you just sort of click make. There's nothing special really. With crafting, it's pretty standard in that respect. You select what you want to make and then you just click go, basically. So pretty standard, nothing special there. With regards to blacksmithing and woodworking and clothing, it's slightly different. I'm not sure if you need to get recipes or anything like that. I'll just go over to the crafting station for blacksmithing over here and I'll show you guys. As it is, there's a fair few materials and a fair few things you need to have when you're blacksmithing. So I haven't actually got anything to blacksmith yet, and I've not actually blacksmithed anything. So obviously here you've got a couple of tabs up here, and obviously weapon and armor here. So we'll just stick with creation for now. Obviously what you would normally do is you would select your weapon that you wanted to craft, so say an axe, and then you'd select the material that you'd want to make it out of. So for example, iron here. You see the plus and minuses here. At current, I can only create a level 1 iron axe, but if I was to add more iron ingots to the recipe, as you can see here, the level increases. So that's level 12, level 14, and so on and so forth. So the more kind of ignots, the more ingredients you put into it, the higher and the better, I suppose, the level of weapon becomes, and that's the same for armor. Obviously down here you've got style. Now style at low levels with crafting, you're kind of stuck to one style, which is your own personal racial style. So at the moment I could only create Bosmer weapons, so wood elf weapons, but as my skill increases and as I get more experience in the craft, I would be able to create Khajiit weapons and Khajiit armor and ancient elf and Nord armor, Ultima armor, Argonian armor, and things like that. And obviously, as you can see up here, the style of it changes. So if we look at that axe as I go along, the style of the axe changes, which is pretty cool. And obviously, the styles are unique, which is good to see. Obviously, down here you've got traits. Traits obviously allow you to add abilities to said weapon, so it can become a magical item of sorts. So obviously, you've got here, if we had one of these, Kaisolite, I think it's pronounced as. It reduces the cooldown of weapon enchantments by 44%, and so on and so forth. You've got all these different things you can add to it. And let's go into improvement. Obviously, you can improve current weapons and armors that you have. You would select the armor or the weapon you have, and you put it down here in the improvement. So let me just take a sip of tea. Nice, lovely tea. And then, excuse me. you've got all different sorts of pieces here, and depending on how much of these like honing stones I had, or dwarven oil and things like that, depending on how much and what of it I had, I would be able to improve the armor into a fine piece of armor, or a superior piece of armor, epic piece of armor, and legendary. So obviously would making it better and more robust to probably do a little bit more damage as well. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that's basically how it works there. So obviously, if you've got the required materials, you can do what you want. And if we go to extraction, this is kind of like a special thing, but like with blacksmithing, for example. Let me just go to raw materials, for example, to show you an example. This is the easiest way I can show you, I think. There's no skill, there's just blacksmithing, there's no sort of smelting, there's no sort of smelting skill. So normally what would happen, I suppose, in most game crafting in games, you would take your iron ore, for example, and you would go to a smelting fire and you would smelt it down into an iron ignot. In this game, you kind of don't do that. You do this all here with extraction. So, unfortunately, I require to have 10 iron ores. I've only got 6 at the moment. So if I had 10, I'd put it down here and then click OK, and it would refine the material from iron ore to an iron ignot. And you can do the same with your armor and with your weapons. Basically, you would put the selected weapon down here, and it would basically deconstruct it. Now, I'm not sure if it would just deconstruct it to its raw material. So if it was an iron sword, for example, you would get just iron. You'd get your iron ignots and your bone, which was, you know, Bosma type thing. Or if it would just deconstruct it to its materials and any special abilities that it had, maybe. I'm not sure how it works entirely, but that's basically it. And obviously research, you could get to research certain types of abilities and things like that as you go on and your levels increase. I think that's pretty locked to me at the moment because I'm not sure if I've got the skill for it yet. But that's basically blacksmithing in the Elder Scrolls Online. So hopefully I've explained that fairly well to you guys, and hopefully you understand that. And I think it's pretty much the same with woodworking as well as clothing, because they're pretty similar skills. With alchemy, I've not done any alchemy yet, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not sure if it works similarly to provisioning, where you would get your recipe and then you just get the ingredients that you needed and bung it all in and then make your food or your brew or whatever. I'm not sure if alchemy is similar to Skyrim in that you get a load of random ingredients, a load of random materials, bung them into a pestle and mortar and see what happens, like you do in Skyrim. And I'm not sure if it's the same in this game. I'm not sure if you have to get recipes, so unfortunately I can't speak for alchemy, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's basically it. So obviously, one thing which I think is brilliant about the crafting in the Elder Scrolls Online is that it's open to everyone, and you can do anything with it, which is great. It really allows you to explore the game fully and do what you want, because this game is so open with things, which I love. It's not just the crafting. Obviously, I explained in the last video, you can be a mage and you can wear full plate mail armor if you wanted, which is great. It really allows you to kind of role play how you want. Let me just go to consumables, because this is one thing that I've actually crafted myself, a pork soup, which gives me a magicka increase, and that's just on the recipe. Obviously you get your recipe and you just bung it all together. So we've got some insect parts here which are used for baits for fishing. Fishing I've not explored yet at all. I've wanted to, but I'm not sure if I need to buy a rod for it, but I can't find anyone selling a rod, so I presume it's just the same as every other sort of thing in the game, but obviously fishing would be used quite closely with provisioning, presumably. So yeah, that's pretty much it with regards to crafting in the Elder Scrolls Online. Hopefully I've explained to you guys a bit about crafting, and hopefully you understand, or you've got a picture of what it's like. It's nothing special. It's nothing new to the MMO genre, sadly. But it sticks pretty closely, I suppose, to an Elder Scrolls ideal, where anyone can do anything, which is good and I like. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the crafting in the Elder Scrolls Online. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you stay tuned for more awesome Elder Scrolls Online content. I'm Rob the Undead Gamer. I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.